What's up, gang? We live. What's up, gang? We live. What's up, gang? We live. What's up, gang? We. What's up, everybody? We live. We're live right now. So I appreciate all y'all jumping in the stream. Thank you for all y'all for jumping in the stream. We got a lot to get into today. We got a lot to get into. Yeah, we got a lot to get into today. We got Iran. We got Nick Fuentes and Sneeko. We got Kanye. We got a lot to get into today, guys. And you know what? I'm happy that everyone has been able to show up today for the stream. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. What would we do? What would we do without the stream?
George.
Who would we be? Right? This is the question we have to ask ourselves. So thanks to everyone. Let's jump into today's video. We got another Professor Jang classic. Let's go, baby.
H.W. Bush. He responds to the fall of the Berlin Wall, the collapse of Soviet Union, by coining a new phrase called the New World Order. And there are three major pillars to the idea of the New World Order, okay? The first idea is that America will become the financial capital of the world. America will offshore resources and manufacturing to other places. And then America will focus primarily on finance, making Wall Street.
Which I believe is why there's the rise of all this AI and tech stuff, is because they want to get off of the petroleum, I guess, and they want to be mainly reliant off of AI technology, which is why a lot of the tech companies are getting involved with the government.
The center of the world, okay? The other idea is the idea of secular multiculturalism. So the world is divided, but what can unite everyone is the love of money, the love of consumerism. So if we just focus on making money and buying things, then the world will be forever at peace, okay? And so we have to let go of borders, we have to let go of community, we have to let go of identity and focus more on consumerism, okay?
That's a terrible way to go about it. If you just focus on consumerism and you forget the key aspects that make you who you are as a person, you might as well just be an NPC Goyim slave, bro, at that point, you know? That's crazy, dude.
And the last idea is global domination, where in order for global trade to happen, America will provide security for all. No one has to fight anymore because America will guarantee global peace. If anyone rises to challenge this order, Pax Americana, then America will go destroy it, okay? So these are the three main pillars of the New World Order as announced by George H.W. Bush on September 11th, 1991, okay? Trump World Order is a response to this New World Order. Basically what Trump is saying, and what he's been saying.
The 11th of September, George W. Bush. The 11th of September, the Twin Towers. The numbers, these people that are up there, the elites, as you guys like to call them, they work with cabal magic. They're all about numbers and astrology and your star sign and wah. They believe in all of this. They plan things specifically that have to do with playing with the devil. And it's right in front of our faces, but we always miss it. What's the number one monitoring device that exists? It is the iPhone. And when did it come out? In September. Go look it up.
For a long time is, why should America pay for the defense of other nations? Why should America have to be the consumer of last resort for everyone? Why are Americans paying for everything so that Europeans can have their welfare and their pension? Everyone's taking advantage of America, and it's destroying America. So let us change the New World Order to the Trump World Order, okay? And how do you do that? Well, you move America from a focus on finance to a focus on resources and manufacturing, okay? Basically, you believe the world is going to permanent war, and so you provide the resources and the manufacturing in order to facilitate this world war. Meanwhile, America has become Fortress America. It can hide behind its fortress, continental fortress, and it's protected by two oceans, right? Okay? So this makes sense. Multiculturalism doesn't work. It leads to stupidity such as DEI, woke politics, transgenderism. It's all retarded. Let's focus on what makes us proud to be Americans, which is Christian nationalism, okay? Our love of the white race, our nation, and God, okay? So no more of this multiculturalism. No more immigration. No more open borders.
But the thing that I personally do not like about the idea of following this sort of, and I know that the Christian faith is number one when it comes to North America, but I find that compared, and this has to be the comparison, but compared to like something like being like Islam or Muslim, there's something about that where people are more, they don't defy the faith as much. They follow the faith. They follow the rules set in place. And I know there's a lot of good Christians, or I guess you could also call them hardcore Christians that follow the thing to a T. But I think the majority of the time people will tell you, oh, I'm Christian or I'm this, and they're not really following their faith. They'll go out drinking, they'll go out chasing women, they'll be committing adultery, and then they'll turn around on one random Sunday on Easter or Christmas and then go and pray. So, I mean, I'm not here to bash anyone's faith, but I'm just pointing out that sometimes when it comes to religion, especially if we're just going to follow being Christians in the US, I think a lot of people are not really going to take that seriously.
No more Democratic Party. Let's just focus on being Christian nationalists, okay? Love the United States, love of Christianity, love of the white race.
And that's something to say. I don't, if it's going to take a while to get that mindset, because if you look on the American dollar, I don't think it says "In God We Trust" anymore. I think that was removed a long time ago. And the Constitution, at a certain point, it became an LLC. America became an LLC. So it was never this like Constitution under God anymore. That's the old ideas.
The last idea is, why should America pay to protect the world? Screw Pax Americana. Let's just do MAGA, okay? What is MAGA? MAGA is National Rejuvenation. Let's make America great again by rebuilding America's manufacturing industry.
America wasn't already
by
great.
exploiting the infinite resources that God has given America in order to make sure every American has a decent life, okay? All right? So again, I understand Trump is an idiot. Trump has launched America into this stupid war in the Middle East. Trump has pissed off NATO. Trump has pissed off all of America's allies. So he's a retard. But if the goal was to destroy the American empire, destroy the global economy, and rebuild America for the benefit of Americans, then Trump is a genius. And he may go down in history as America's greatest president, okay? Both Putin and Trump know that the world will collapse. And the question is, how do they know this? And the answer is because it's so obvious.
It's so crazy, the idea of failing upwards. Failing, no matter what happens to you, no matter what losses you take, you always end up right where you're supposed to be, regardless of all the crime that you've done. All the national security crimes you've done against your country, running it, all the back deals you've done, and yet you still could possibly end up as being the genius behind this whole plan of why America remained #1. My goodness.
Okay? So for the longest time, what America did was, after World War II, it lent money to Europe and Japan so that Europe and Japan can buy manufactured goods from America. And this is good for America because it created a lot of jobs and Americans were productive. But then over time, Americans became very lazy. And so they made the Europeans and the Japanese do the work, specifically Germany. And then America started to be the consumer, okay? So then America started to spend more money than it made. Okay? Before, it made more money than it spent and lent this money to Europe and Japan. But then over time, this reversed itself. And then what happened was that America started to shift its manufacturing to China. And so China is like, let me do all the work for you, America, and I'll do it for really cheaply, and I'll borrow money from you. I'll lend you.
And a quick update, that exportation of labor was the key reason why a lot of American products started to dwindle in quality, but also it was a key factor for the reason why an American company like Schwinn went under. Schwinn went pretty much bankrupt because they were exporting. They decided to export the manufacturing of the Schwinn bikes to China, and the quality of the Schwinn bikes decreased so much that they just were obliterated in the market because their bikes were no longer holding quality. Because back in the day, when you had a Schwinn, it meant quality, and they were really expensive bikes. And once they started exporting that, it was game over for that whole company, bro.
The money to do it, okay? So what's happening is that America is becoming lazy, in debt, and corrupt. Because the entire world was basically working for America for very little money. So Americans didn't really have to work. And this led to massive inequality in America, which led to political corruption, which led to an oligarchy, okay? So don't think of America as a democracy, think of it as an oligarchy. And so when that happens, when only a few people benefit from the system, then the American people get really pissed. And so they elected Donald Trump. And why did Donald Trump get elected? Because he understood intuitively this system does not work. It cannot hold. It cannot be stable for too long. It's gonna collapse eventually, okay? The question then is, when will it collapse and who will benefit from the collapse? And Donald Trump's like, okay, then let's control the collapse so that my friends and I can benefit the most from this collapse, okay? And Donald Trump has two sets of friends. The first are the Christians, Christian evangelicals, basically the fanatics who support Israel, as well as the AI, Silicon Valley. So we learned about the idea of overproduction, okay? But the idea is that as society collapses, declines, the elite start to compete against themselves for resources. And so right now, the elite are the finance people, and the new elite, okay, the counter elites, are the AI people, okay? Artificial intelligence. And it's something we'll discuss later on, okay? But I introduce you to the idea. But basically, the idea is that America is a house of cards, it's a Ponzi scheme, It's corrupt, it's unequal, it's lazy, it's in decline. So it's going to fall apart sooner or later, okay? But the question then is like, how do you manage this decline? How do you control this decline in a way that allows you and your friends to benefit the most, okay? And that's why Donald Trump started this war in the Middle East. Because by starting this war in the Middle East, you're extending the process of decline in America, and therefore you're able to help transform America from an economy that's based on finance to one that's based on.
Right, and regardless of the economic situations that America finds itself, it would have collapsed anyway, only out of just pure hubris as well. It's inflexible, it's unwilling to change its ways. The world wants to change around it. The world wants to take on new sort of reserve currencies and things of that sort and have other people in power, sort of gatekeeping certain resources. And America really is inflexible. So regardless of if they won the war or not, or any of the things that Chang is saying, the American collapse would happen regardless, just out of sheer hubris, their inability to be flexible. The world's going to change regardless if America wants to or not.
On resource exploitation and then manufacturing. Okay, does that make sense? All right, any more questions? So the thing to understand about war is that there are different factors at play, okay? So before we went into the eschatological factor, all right? Now I'll explain to you the geopolitical or the economic, okay? But there's also the historical or hubris, right? And what you need to recognize about history is that often all three things converge together. Okay? Because what is religion? Religion is a memory, a long lost memory of our ancient past, told through myths and stories. So there's truth to religion because it's basing a lot of its ideas through personal experience, through history, okay? From thousands of years ago, right? And geopolitics, economics drives historical forces. So another way of understanding this is that often all these different factors are aligned together. And something we'll discuss more later on, okay? All right? And so why do I look at different factors, different vectors? And the answer is because I make predictions. And
that's it. Making predictions, that's all we can do, Jang, innit? That's all we can do as people in this world is just make predictions. We don't really have all the facts or the truths. All we can make is assumptions based on the information that we have. And you should never feel bad about being wrong. And with that, let's move on to the next video, guys. I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate you guys rocking with me today. Today's Friday. It's not a usual day that most people are at home doing nothing, but I guess you guys are all doing nothing. Just like I'm doing nothing, you guys are now doing nothing. So I guess, we can rock out together. Let's rock out together, guys. I really appreciate that. Let's turn this light up. There we go. I really appreciate rocking out with you guys. Thank you for rocking with your boy. Thank you for rocking with me, guys. Oh my God. Continue the Jang?
this week,
Continue Jang? Yeah, all right. All right, let's continue with Mr. Jang. I don't mind it. Let's get back in it with Jang, guys. Because he's our guy.
again, we have reached a turning point in the war. It is possible that in a few hours or by tomorrow, we will have reached the point of no return. Donald Trump has threatened the Iranians, saying that on Tuesday, if the Iranians still refuse to open the Strait of Hormuz, then the Americans will destroy the Iranian power plants and bridges and universities. Basically, the Americans will start attacking critical civilian infrastructure, which will force Iranians to strike hard against the GCC, the oil fields, the desalination plants, the universities as well. And this would mean that the world would lose 20% of its energy supply.
The crazy thing is that the harder the US hits, the harder Iran is going to hit the GCC. It's essentially, at this point, it's looking as though it's going to be mutually assured destruction.
And this would be a catastrophe for the global economy. It would deindustrialize the world and would create global famine, among other problems. Okay, so next few hours, next day, we could reach the point of no return in this war. Hopefully, Trump is bluffing because he has known to bluff before. In fact, he's issued many ultimatums to Iran before, and then he sort of tackled, right? Trump always chickens out, and he said, you know what? I said a day, but I'll give you a week instead. But this time, I want to show you that it's different. I want to show you that this weekend, the Americans went all in. They launched a ground invasion. It failed. And instead of saying, you know what, we probably can't beat Iran, let's negotiate a peace deal, what the Americans will do is they will go all in now and launch a full-scale ground invasion, call a national draft, and the world will never be the same again, okay?
If you're in America and they come and knock on your door for the draft, there's only one thing you can do. There's only one thing you can do. That's it. That's the only way you get out of this. I'm sorry, Americans, but that's the only way. You have to be unsuitable for war.
So this is a tweet that Donald Trump sent to the Iranians, and he calls them crazy bastards, and he says, praise be to Allah. So a lot of people think he is now deranged. Clearly, he's angry at the Iranians. All right. So the Americans and the Israelis have constantly escalated attacks against civilian targets in Iran. So Trump ordered the destruction of Iran's largest bridge. Okay? All right. Right here, right? You guys see that? Okay? And this is considered a war crime because you're not supposed to target civilian infrastructure. Now, you can make the argument that this is dual use, meaning that the military uses it as well.
Yeah, you think Donald Trump cares about sort of all these rules that exist when it comes to warfare? I don't think the guy does, bro. He's clearly doing things that are against national security.
Well, but everything is dual use, right? Because the military also uses water. They also use electricity. Their kids also go to university. So there's a great fear now that we're already at the point of no return. And the Iranians themselves have promised to start to attack universities in the GCC as well, okay, in retaliation.
Damn.
So if Trump were to destroy
the Iranians attack the universities, where are people going to collect student loan debt? But I'm not sure. I don't think there's I think you get free university in these countries. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If I am, let me know in the comments.
Iranian power plants, this would be devastating for the Iranian economy. And there's news now that Iran is organizing a protest where young people are asked to go to power plants and form a human chain so that if the jets come and destroy the power plants, they will be destroyed as well. So some people think that, okay, this is the Iranians calling the bluff of Trump. That's not a good idea because on the first day of the war, the Americans killed 168 schoolgirls in southern Iran. So this shows that the Americans and the Israelis don't really care about human life. But by doing this, if the Americans actually do destroy power plants and they do kill a lot of young people in the process, what this would do is galvanize the nation into total war. Okay? So what's important to understand is that throughout this war, there have been different voices in Iran. Okay? Some, like the xCephasx Revolutionary Guard, want total war. But there are also some who are worried about the economic damage because of this war. They're also worried about giving too much power to the military, okay? But if Donald Trump goes and attacks these power plants, then the Iranians will be going to total war. They'll be totally committed to destroying the American military presence in the Middle East, as well as the global economy, okay?
Yeah, and they could do it so easily. There's really nothing that's stopping them. At this moment, the war is tipped in Iran's favor. So if they just keep attacking all these infrastructures, crucial infrastructures, you think Iran's going to do a back down? No, they're only going to get angrier, bro. If they already controlled the Strait of Hormuz, what else are they able to control? There's nothing stopping them, bro. They're hungry. They're hungry and they're doing it for God, for Allah. Allah Akbar!
And unfortunately, the Americans and the Israelis don't really care because they're committed to destroying Iran as a viable nation state. Already we're seeing increases in fuel prices, okay? So if you are in the red, it means that you've seen prices go up a lot, okay? Damn. If you're in the red. So America, Australia, they've seen prices skyrocket.
Bro, our gas prices are crazy right now.
As well as Europe. This is only just the beginning. We can expect gas prices to skyrocket so much that it essentially collapses the civilian aviation industry, meaning that in the future, if you want to fly, it might cost you 10 times as much as it does now, okay? And this will happen very, very quickly. But again, the main issue, and I need to emphasize this, the main issue is not the fuel. The main issue is the fertilizer.
Yeah, but there's also the other issue of like, this is crazy. Yes, war affects the civilians that are involved, but not to this extent. This is crazy. 10 times X to get a flight to go somewhere. So now we won't even be able to get off the ground. We're stuck in our countries because of this stupid war. And then there's a lot of people that are advocating for this war to continue, which I find to be ridiculous. I think the only people that could be advocating for this war are either people who are straight up goyim or people that are super rich, where whatever price fluctuations happens, it doesn't matter to them.
And the fertilizer is important because you need fertilizer to grow food, and we are in the planting season. You guys don't know this, but it is because of fertilizer that we are allowed to support 8 billion people. If we didn't have access to fertilizer, we can only grow enough food to support 1 to 2 billion people. And unfortunately, this means that Africa and parts of South Asia a lot of people there will starve to death. So the main concern is famine, okay?
Right, but also the thing that I find to be absolutely stupid about Africa is someone who has lived there. It is very, like, you can take any sort of seed and throw it on the ground and it starts to grow. The idea that Africa needs fertilizer, not necessarily, not to take care of its own population. It has enough good soil to grow crops and stuff. It's just that the majority of the people that are in Africa are not educated on making, like, being self-sufficient. Like, Africa is one of those countries where if they govern themselves correctly, they don't need to export anything. They can just chill. Lack of knowledge, really.
Not airline tickets. All right, let's continue. All right. So as this war is progressing, we need to step back and recognize that this is a global war. So the Ukrainians use drones to attack and destroy an oil depot, an oil terminal in Russia. And this means now that 40%, guys, of Russia's oil exports have gone offline, right? So what's happening is that not only is the Strait of Hormuz closed, but the Americans are also attacking Russia's oil, okay? So you have drone strikes in terminals, but also you don't see this in the news, but also there's basically a naval blockade. So if you are a Russian oil tanker, if the Americans come and catch you, they'll take your oil, okay? So this is basically piracy. So in other words, the American strategy before was, okay, before we were the world's global reserve currency, and as a result, we encourage global trade. But now that we are not, but now that our economy is suffering, well, let's just control the sea lanes, okay? So that's American strategy moving forward. All right, some major news from Germany is that if you are a German male under 45, okay, basically from 17 to 45, this age group, you are not allowed to leave the country for more than 3 months without army permission.
Damn.
This is a prelude to a national draft, okay?
Germany.
Why is Germany doing this? Because Germany is an industrial nation. And if
in America, the draft age only goes up to 25, 18 to 25, I believe, able-bodied youth. Germany goes all the way up to 45. Yo, they're saying like, yo, you're not old, bro. You're in the ripe age for war. Wild.
Russian energy supply goes offline, if energy from the GCC goes offline, Germany has no choice but to remilitarize and create its own energy supplies, okay? So Germany must go to war. It has absolutely no choice in the matter.
Damn.
All right. So let's talk briefly about what's going to happen over the next year. So as I said before, the United States was the global reserve currency. And that meant basically that for every transaction that you made with US dollars, they could tax you, okay? Because they could inflate the price of the US dollar. But now that people are choosing to opt out of the US dollar, for example, in China, people are buying more gold, right?
Right.
And people are using other currencies. America, in order to maintain its empire, has to change its strategy. Now, the main source of American power is its ability to control sea lanes, okay? Because it has military bases all around the world, okay? So in the red, these are all areas with US bases. And before, it used these US bases in order to maintain global trade. But with nations choosing to opt out of your system, now your strategy is to blockade them, right? Create a naval blockade, starve them of resources, which forces them to come beg to you for trade access, okay? So we've gone to a strategy where America guaranteed global trade to America basically being a mafia state, being pirates, and allowing you to use sea lanes and giving you trade access. Okay, doesn't make sense.
Is America the biggest piratry? Sea lane, everything? Pirates of the water, pirates of the American coast? Are they bigger than anything we've ever seen? Possibly. Dear God. America. America. We love America. All right, let's change paces. Let's change pace a little bit here, guys. Let's get into this. Let's get into some celebrity drama, right? Let's get into celebrity drama, guys. Let's get into the celebrity drama. Who's that? Hey, Shabina, what's going on? Appreciate it. Thank you for rocking with me. We live, guys. We out here live interacting with the fans. We got Shabina, 20. Where's Shabina, 19, and everybody else? That's the real question. No worries. That's what's up. What do you want to see? What do you like seeing? You like these reaction videos? We're about to get into some Nick Fuentes and Sneeko. I don't know if that tickles your fancy, but let's keep the stream going, guys. Let's keep the stream going. Let's keep it going. Let's not let the youth Baller, what's going on? By the way, I do some super cool art stuff. Yeah, sure. Link it up. All right, let's get into this next stream. This next video here. We got Sneeko and Nick Fuentes going at it again. Sneeko's making everyone's career, and everybody seems to be screwing over the Sneaks. All right, let's find out how we can probably save. Can we save it?
Well, he's not a goy. He's a Jew.
Exposed.
So let's just get that straight. He's not a goy. He's ethnically Jewish. Maybe that explains a lot. But yeah, he's going. And you know what? Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. He's gone. I really did try to extend the olive branch, and he just gives me all this bullshit back. And like, I could sit there and rebut all of it. Not worth it. Whatever. I sent him this apology. I said, hey, man, I'm really sorry that I said you're not creative. I do respect you as an artist. I was just talking shit. Because I could tell that hurt his feelings. You know what his response was? He said, why didn't you say that on the stream so that all the other people could see that you apologized to me? It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you fucking weirdo? Are we friends, or is this just part of the YouTube fucking show? Like, honest to God, how fucking crazy is that? I text him, hey, man, I'm sorry I said that.
The crazy thing about this internet stuff is that, like, everybody wants to beef for whatever reason. I think if someone apologized to you, okay, well, the perspective that I saw when I was watching live on Kick, Sneeko speaking about the situation, is that he said because Nick Fuentes insulted him in public, he deserved an apology in public in terms of like on stream. Because you insulted me on stream, I want a stream apology. Now, I can understand how, oh, do it for the fans, do it for the people, so that the people see what's going on. But come on, guys. Are we grown? Are we grown adults, or are we not grown adults? Shabina, I see you. Are we grown adults, or are we not grown adults? This is the situation I have, because the streaming community seems to bicker crazy like they're a bunch of high school girls, bro.
That was out of line. I do think you're a good artist. I was talking shit. I don't remember the context, because that was a long time ago. And I meant that. Now, I think it was ridiculous that he played.
And it's not even a video that's of recent. It's a video Sneeko's ranting about that is months ago. Come on, guys.
Played that on the stream. It's like, that clip was from a year ago, and you're playing the clip on the stream and getting all butthurt about it. It's like, why even do that? Why go there? But I felt bad, so I sent him this apology. He didn't even reply. And then I bring it up on the show. He goes on his stream and says, well, oh, now you say that you apologize. Why didn't you say it on stream? It's like, so, you know, I apologize to you man to man for what I said. That's not enough. You need me to broadcast it to the audience, to the fans. And on some level, like, that's his problem, is like, me, I'm a real person. Him, he lives in YouTube world. He lives and breathes and dies by what people are saying. What are the fans saying? How's my video doing? How much clout do I have? That's all it is for him. And that's a bad way to be. So you want me to say it on the stream? Here it is. Here it is, freak. That's a bad way to be.
Yeah, Sneeko likes to act in this way. He likes acting this sort of... He likes to believe that everything that he's doing is so moral and so uppity and so by the book. When, listen, a lot of people have claimed him to be a shyster. Personally, from what I see, he's someone who's personally very egotistical and very singular focused. It has to do with him. When the situation happened when they played that song in the club, it once again was, why is everyone throwing me under the bus? Why was I the scapegoat? I asked people to defend me for these certain situations, and they didn't defend me. Why are the Muslims praying in the streets of New York and Town Square? We should be allowed. It's like, bro, we get it. We get it. You've decided to turn your life around and become this better person, but now you're just leaving a bunch of casualties everywhere.
You know, for a guy whose whole shtick is authenticity and love speech and truth through funny and blah, blah, it's all fucking posturing. It's all virtue signaling. For the fan, like, get a grip, man. Exist in reality. I live in reality. This is not me. What you're seeing is not me. You're seeing a video of me. I am me, okay? I live in reality. I don't live on a stream. Let them talk. People talk shit about me all the time. Let them talk. Fuck them. I don't know them. If I met them, I probably wouldn't even like them. Let them talk. Fuck them. I'm here to talk about politics and entertain, and if you like it, great. If not, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, he says that, and then he goes, you're mobilizing your fans to dislike me. It's like, you know, you sound crazy right now. You said some shit about me. I said some shit about you. Who started it? I don't know exactly, but we both did it.
But that's what I'm saying about this whole ideology of running around like a bunch of school children, bro. It's the stupidest thing. I think yeah, I get it. In the industry, whatever the fuck that means, there's going to be people that don't like you, and there's going to be people that only rock with you based on your clout and the numbers that you can bring. And so every interaction is pretty much a transaction because both people can like better from each other and make money off the situation. I get it. I understand the idea of leverage and interest and feeding your families. I get it. But do we have to treat it like it's some sort of high school locker room?
You're talking shit about white people and Christians in the West, and you're responding to my clips. Okay, I respond to your stuff, and I talk shit back. And then I try to say, hey man, we're good. And he goes, no, you're mobilizing your fans to attack me. But okay, bro. Well, you know what? Then I can't help you. I cannot help you. So, and I'm not gonna go for the low blow. It'd be very easy for me to say, oh, Tate was right. I'm not gonna say that because I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with Tate throwing him under the bus still. I'm not going to go there. People like to say about me, oh, it's 110 friendships. Oh, they rush to some other person that hates me. It's like, what happens between me and him? And, I don't know. I'd like to be his friend, but,
I hope you guys can work it out, man, because this type of shit that you guys are doing, bro, is so petty, bro. So petty. What is she saying? Can you add me on Discord whenever you get a chance? Sure, I'll add you on Discord, baby girl. Why not? Why not? Why not add her on that platform? Sure. Let me add you on Discord right now. Let me get to that right now. Let me do that right now because that's the most important thing I need to be doing. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to figure out what the next video is, guys. Sorry. Oh, I guess it's this one here. The real concern is airline tickets, the global financial, they are not serious about the ceasefire. They are not serious about the ceasefire? All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it, guys. Jang! We're locked and loaded with Jang.
Today is our midterm examination, a chance for you to question and examine me. All right, so before we look at the questions for the midterm examination, I want to discuss briefly the ceasefire between the United States and Iran. So yesterday, Donald Trump announced that there will be a 2-week pause to this war and that the United States and Iran will meet in Pakistan to negotiate a possible long-term ceasefire. And what he said that's very important is that he will use the 10
It's all double talk. It's all BS, bro. Yeah. Donald Trump is not somebody that should be taken seriously ever, bro. Everything that he's doing is an attack on the national security of his country and the world, bro. He's lost it.
Point Iranian plan as a framework to discuss a peace treaty. And as you can see from the 10-point plan, in fact, this is almost a complete U.S. surrender to Iran. The first point is that the United States will guarantee never to attack Iran again. Iran will have complete control over the Strait of Hormuz.
You know what's crazy? I can just see Donald Trump sitting near the fire writing this while he's like smoking like a pipe or a cigar or something, and he's just writing this. My 10-point plan to help stop and help the Iranians. What an idiot, dude.
Iran can choose to enrich uranium for its nuclear program. All sanctions on Iran will be removed. This is a very big deal. Removal of all secondary sanctions against foreign entities that do business with Iran, and of all United Nations Security Council resolutions against Iran, and of all International Atomic Energy Agency resolutions, compensation, reparations for all the damage that the United States.
Bro, how are you going to do a ceasefire when you didn't even find any of the uranium? You're just going to stop? So where's the uranium that you said that they had in such abundance? You're just going to stop the thing and say, all right, it's done, finished. Come on, man. You guys, this is what I always say. I always say that politics is just one big adult theater.
This initiative did to Iran. Withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the Middle East, giving Iran control over the Middle East. And the last, and the most important, is that the United States will also agree to end hostilities against all of Iran's proxies, including Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen. So as you can see, this is basically a complete U.S. surrender to Iran, which tells us right away that Donald Trump is not serious.
That's what I'm saying,
If you go
bro.
into a shop and you negotiate with a shop owner, and you want to sell maybe a book to the guy, and you're hoping for $100, but because it's bargaining, you think, maybe I should start high, so you say $1,000. If you say $1,000 and the shop owner says, yeah, I'll take that deal, there's something wrong here, okay? All right, so there's something very wrong, and there's very little chance that the ceasefire will hold. And in fact, we're already seeing news that the ceasefire is being broken, okay? So there are 3 individuals on Twitter who've made some very interesting points. All right, so in this tweet, Mr. Bojack said that, listen, if this is really a ceasefire, why is the United States continuing to send aircraft carriers, the USS George Bush, to the Middle East? What they're really trying to do is buy time in order for the ground troops to get ready to attack and seize the strait. Okay? So once everything's in position, then probably what will happen is that Israel will launch a false flag against the Americans, which will justify an American attack against Iran. Right? So that's a possible scenario. But again, the question is, if this is really a ceasefire, if Donald Trump is really intent on peace, why does he continue to send U.S. forces to the Middle East? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is,
I think he's mainly just trying to overwhelm Iran without realizing that he doesn't have the resources to be able to prolong this thing for as long as possible. I think he's just trying to do whatever the fuck Epic Fury was supposed to be. He's really just trying to overwhelm them, take down infrastructure, essentially just immobilize them as quickly as possible without having to do this draft because they don't have enough soldiers. If they had to go draft all these young kids, these Gen Z iPad kids, then the war is over, bro. Those kids don't know how to do anything.
The problem is how Iran is defending itself. It's using something called the Mosaic defense, which is say that there's 31 provinces, and these are 31 cells or units that are all responsible for their own strategy and attack and defense, meaning that there's no longer a centralized command. So it doesn't matter if you negotiate with the leadership of Iran because the IRGC, the people who are fighting, will not agree to a ceasefire because they do not trust the Americans or the Israelis. So whatever happens in Pakistan will not affect the outcome of the battlefield. That's a problem with the Mosaic defense. Think of the Mosaic defense as almost a dead man switch where if you kill the Ayatollah will tell his people to fight to the end. So the Mosaic defense will only come to an end if either Iran is defeated or the Americans are defeated. This thing collapses if there's in between a ceasefire. Because in order for the Iranians to implement a ceasefire, they themselves will have to go and control these Mosaic units in the provinces, which basically means a civil war. Okay? So it's almost impossible, even if Iran were to negotiate a favorable peace deal, for Iran to actually implement this peace deal within its military. Okay? That's problem number 2. Problem number 3 is the United States continues to have an air bridge to the Middle East. So even though there's a ceasefire, you have these massive movement of U.S. ground troops, of U.S. planes, of U.S. artillery and tanks to the Middle East. So if there's really a peace, why is this happening? And another way of saying this is that the political systems of both the United States and Iran have lost control over the war. Once these militaries start fighting, they are determined to fight to the bitter end. Okay? But
right, they're fighting, especially the people in the Middle East. They fight to the end because they're not just fighting the war for themselves or for the country. They believe that the war that they're fighting is for a higher power, that is for Allah. And for that reason, they are willing to die for their faith, die for their country. They're willing to perish and do all these things because this is what they honestly believe, that this is their God-given right to do this. And that if they do end up, I guess, perishing in war, then it's for Allah. They're guaranteed a place in heaven because they were fighting for their God. It's hard to compete against that, dude, to be honest.
Unfortunately, what this tells me, the fact that Iran is willing to negotiate a peace treaty, probably means that there's a schism or divide between the political leadership in Iran and the military leadership in Iran. And this is going to cause a lot of problems in the future. So maybe before this past month, it seemed as though that Iran had control over the battlefield and Iran was winning it. But I think over time, what's going to happen is that fissures will arise in Iran, and Iran will start losing the battle more and more as the United States and Israel develop a much more coherent strategy against Iran. Another major issue is that as this war drags on, the world economy is going to suffer, which means that people can no longer drive their cars, and which means maybe a lot of people will also starve. And this means that ultimately public or global opinion will slowly turn against Iran. Okay? And even Iran's closest allies, Russia and China, will feel the strain of this war and maybe even pressure Iran to end this war. But again, as we discussed previously, because of the way that Iran has structured its military defense, it's impossible for Iran to end this war unless it's either destroyed or it's destroyed the Americans. Okay? So this war, the ceasefire,
it's a mutually assured destruction. There's no way one party is coming out of this unscathed or looking better than the other. I think both parties are going to go home with some injuries, and that's a fact.
A PR stunt. It will actually lead to nothing. All right. The major point of contention is whether or not Lebanon is part of the peace treaty. So the Iranians believe that this peace treaty also includes its proxies, specifically Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen. But after this peace treaty was announced, Israel launched more than 100 strikes in 10 minutes across Lebanon, killing 250 people, at least 250 people. Okay? So Iran is obligated to defend Hezbollah. morally. And Israel understands that if Iran breaks the peace treaty and defends Hezbollah, then it is Iran's fault, okay? And the Americans have come out and said that, well, we agreed that Lebanon was not part of the deal. And J.D. Vance, the vice president, said, oh, it's a legitimate misunderstanding. We thought that Hezbollah wasn't part of this deal, but the Iranians...
They will do and say anything they must to continue the theater, all right? Politics is just grown-up theater, guys. Don't fall for their lies. Don't let this BS infiltrate your mind, bro. Mainly, don't listen to Donald Trump. That's a crazy-ass dude. You guys gonna listen to Trump? Be like, yo, Trump's our guy. You guys need to calm down, you. Yo, you. You need to calm down, fam. All right, guys, let's get into this. How Kanye recorded Bully. Let's find out.
Know you wonder where the Effie been, but I'm back to life like an EpiPen, and she still in a leopard skin, and check me out, then check me in.
Bully has been one of Kanye's most anticipated albums, but the recording process of this album is crazier than you would ever think. What was the behind-the-scenes process, and how did Kanye craft this album over the last 3 years? After facing a number of controversies in America, Kanye decided to change things up and go to Japan. While in Japan, Kanye had established a creative warehouse known as Yeezy Japan, a sanctuary that was free from any outside influence and a place that could remain private to his trusted artists and collaborators. This warehouse served as a creative wonderland for Kanye, a place where his wildest ideas and creations could run free. And it was this warehouse that Kanye would go on to work on his album in. You see, year after year, Kanye had always strived to be bigger and better than his last album. Each cycle meant more producers, more musicians, and bigger studios, culminating in his latest release, which was Donda, where he recorded it in a stadium.
You know, for someone who's able to manage like 16 to 20 different artists that are working on one album, you have to give it up to him, bro. He's a really good, I guess, director and musical executive producer. That's a W, man.
But since that album, things had changed dramatically for Ye, who felt that life had turned his back on him and that he was being bullied.
I took all that position, you gave my position, coach. Ain't nobody king over me. Every summer there's no king. I'm the king because I'm the only one against y'all. I'm the only one that's gonna go against y'all. That's why.
Or maybe it was the nitrous.
Ryan Garcia, this I'm on the nitrous. That nitrous, bro, I can't
what?
This caused a complete change in Kanye, who decided to go back to the essential production elements he used when he first started making music. And it's this setup consisting of an MPC, a record player, and a simple sequencer that Kanye decided to return to when making the initial beats and ideas.
You said some of I can record in here or not? I used to know that. I might could learn that better than I could learn the Pro Tools.
But Kanye was not alone when creating the initial ideas for this album. He brought back legendary producers 88 Keys and Che Pope, who were designated samplers, tasked with...
You know what's crazy is that these people, when Kanye is doing all these tirades, guess where they're at? They're hiding, dude. They're not on social media. They're not replying. They're not talking to the press. It's essentially like your boss is having a meltdown, and the only thing you can do is duck for cover. Once he's ready to call you up again to go back in the studio, you go right with him. Ain't no one gonna fuck around with their check, bro. It's just because your boss is whiling out on the fucking NOS.
Finding the best possible samples to use on the album.
Diggers over here still, you know what I'm saying? Great diggers.
You know, we stay digging in the samples. You know, we diggers, you know what I mean? We like to find the artifacts as the diamonds and like, you know, it's in the details. It's in the
Diamonds in the
things.
details.
It's in research, it's in study. 14, 15 years with my brother, you know what I'm saying? That's my brother for life, so.
The sampling experts would dig up a sample, which would then be provided to Kanye, who would give the final approval for the music.
I really like that one sample that we pointed out, it said Tony Williams on it. Yeah.
Which is the singing, right? Now slow down.
Yeah.
But Kanye himself also got involved, returning back to his roots, producing on the ASR-10, the original keyboard he used to chop up the legendary samples when he first started his production career. And these samples that Kanye had selected would go on to become the basis of the song.
That he used the freestyles and stuff to feed the AI that went on to do the verses and choruses on the album. A lot of you hated that. A lot of this new generation hated the fact that he used AI to do his verses and stuff. To me, I don't see any problem with it. If he wants to do a whole album where he didn't do anything and he just curated the sounds and it was all done by AI, why we gotta hate on the technology of today? Right now, there's a fire, there's a dumpster fire for AI. Nobody likes it. People don't want it involved in what they believe to be human things. But I believe there's going to come a time where everything is AI. Even the shows that you watch, they're going to be AI generated. It's going to be ideas that you have when you're talking to your shitty coworkers and you're like, I could turn that into a show. And you're just going to plug it in and you're going to watch the series that you created with your shitty, dusty, greasy coworker. Just saying, guys. Don't hate on AI like that.
And inspiration from these freestyles often came from group conversations.
I'm giving BBLs to the nannies. I put a pack on the fan, put a pack on the fan. I put a pack on the fan. I put a pack on the fan. I'm giving BBLs to the
The problem with this kind of situation is, bro, there's too many yes men. I would hate to be surrounded by a bunch of people that are essentially there just to, you know, knob slob me, bro. This, I'm telling you, bro, this is a weird situation. I don't, like, you don't need this many niggas in your crew, bro.
The way we would run out of water is people would control it more. It's our most precious resource, and it's been slowly being made to cost money. Did you ever use the water fountain?
Yes. I was at the skate park every day, so I had no choice.
Wait, so do they still have that?
No.
So the water fountains don't work no more?
Mm-hmm. And that's how
we should name something the water fountain.
Oh, I didn't think the water fountains away. That shit actually got my fucking head fucked up.
Once Ye laid the initial
You see what I'm talking about? And then anything that Kanye will say, people will sit there and be like, oh my God, that's so revolutionary. Oh my goodness, I never thought about it like that. Oh my gosh, wow. Circles over squares. Wow, Kanye, you're amazing. It's like, bro, come on, man. Get this nigga's slob out of your mouth, bro. Come on. Come on.
groundwork for an idea, he would then bring it into a digital audio workstation where he would manipulate it and change the arrangement. And many of these songs underwent dozens and dozens of revisions until Ye perfected the final version. Some of these versions even included Twitch streamers.
And yeah, I see all the lights and shorty she fun. So I don't know how to use a program.
But unlike Ye's previous albums, he started to experiment with new ideas and technologies. One of these included AI, which he used to clone his voice on many of the songs, even making AI clones of rappers like Dave Blunt's to create the perfect song.
He Dave Blunt's to write to this song, bro. He keep on being like, I can't catch it. I know like his flows.
Stay away from AI. It's a more negative reaction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The AI situation is crazy, bro. It's a tool, guys. Quit beefing and slobbing and knobbing on niggas, bro.
Auto-tune.
Yeah, so auto-tune you feel like is AI as well.
Exactly. It's in the same family, except people have a more visceral reaction.
It's still about to do. It's like the next version of sampling. Like when sampling happened, like the musicians, they hated it. When EDM came in, it was musicians that hated that. And there was people who hated it, auto-tune. And there's people who hate the concept of AI. It's like people hated the ass shots. It became like a standard.
Yeah.
Like,
After all this work, Kanye released a version 1 album that would predate the final release by a year. But similar to his previous albums like Donda, he used the strategy of releasing an unfinished version, getting feedback, and then using that to tweak the album. After this first initial release, Kanye decided to lock in and remove AI from the album. He would also go on to develop a number of new songs.
Yeah, not just because he just had a change of heart, bro. It's the whole internet was mad.
Featuring major artists like Travis Scott. And as Kanye got closer to the final album release, he began incorporating elements from the live arrangements for shows he did prior to the release. This included the talkbox on songs like All the Love. In the end, Bully was one of Kanye's craziest recording moments. After this, who knows what he'll do next. I hope y'all enjoyed this video.
Yes, it was okay. The album was alright, guys. It's not, that album didn't change my fucking life, alright? That album didn't change my life. The Ye album, I didn't, what? You want me to tell you that it changed my life? I became a better person. I became a better father? Is that what you guys want to hear? The album completely changed me. The album completely changed me. I became a better person, guys. Shout out to Kanye. Let's get into this. The Pink Pony Club. The Pink Pony Club. Chappelle Roan destroyed her image in 48 hours. All right, let's take a guess. What could she possibly have done? What could she possibly have done? I think she said something about female rights or queers. I'm just saying, bro. That's usually how you canceled.
Roan apparently destroyed her reputation in Brazil within 48 hours of performing at a festival, turning the whole crowd of Come to Brazil fans into Don't Come to Brazil ever again. I don't even know how that's possible, but today, I guess we'll find out.
I guess she didn't like the poverty that is Brazil.
Because it's safe to say, the deeper you look into the story, the more odd the whole picture just gets. Lollapalooza Brazil 2026 ran from March 20th to 22nd at the Interlagos circuit at Sao Paulo and had TV Globo, arguably, I guess, one of the more important TV networks in Brazil, as its official media and broadcasting partner. This year's edition featured one of the strongest lineups the festival's had, including headliners like Sabrina Carpenter, Tyler the Creator, Skrillex, Lorde, and Chappell Roan. And for Roan, the Sao Paulo date was the final stop of her most recent tour that started in Warsaw, Poland in 2025. That might be relevant because, clearly from everything that happened, she's tired. Her last performance was on March 15th in Santiago, and after that she was headed to the Tongara Palace for her stay before performing on the Saturday, the 21st, for her final night of her tour. And it was the morning of March 21st that I guess the entire story started, because that's when official TV Globo account asked Twitter, I wonder what Chappell Roan had for breakfast today. And I guess that was the first domino that fell for this entire story, because also in town for the weekend, staying at the Tongara Palace, which by the way,
that's a weird question to ask. Why would you even care what somebody had to eat for breakfast? I'm telling you, bro, this whole celebrity culture entertainment thing, I swear it has to be. These are very R-worded things. They're very retarded questions, bro. Come on, that's stupid.
I guess it's just a really high-end hotel there. There was a woman and her 11-year-old daughter who was a fan of the singer Chappell Roan. She'd woken up early that morning, buzzing with excitement. She made a handmade sign and she was counting down to the show that evening, which was, I guess, her birthday gift from her parents. And they were also having breakfast at the hotel when someone with long, curly red hair passed by through the restaurant. And the mother apparently turned to the girl, whose name is Ada, and asked, hey, do you think that was Chappell Roan? Ada obviously was extremely excited from this because, you know, she's here to see her idol. So I guess she got up and she walked over just to check if this was Chappell or not. She then confirmed it was her.
Confirmed, but my question is, why are you listening to Chappell Roan? Pink Pony Club? That's the only record I know of hers. You're an 8-year-old listening to that song? Come on, man. Where's God?
I guess smiled at the singer and then walked back and sat down at her table. And reportedly, there was no phone out, no photo attempts, nor did she even say anything to the artist. So the kid essentially just glanced over to confirm that she was looking at the right person. However, moments later, a large security guard walked over to their table while they were still eating, and according to the family, proceeded to go off on them, accusing Ada of disrespecting and harassing the artist and threatened to file a formal complaint against them with the hotel. What? That just doesn't make sense. But the girl, as you would expect, ended up in tears. Now, what nobody at that restaurant could have anticipated is the person who was about to call this all out on the internet, because that was her stepfather, Giorgino Frello, who's apparently a 34-year-old Italian-Brazilian Champions League winner. He's a former Chelsea player, a former Arsenal player, and now he's back in Brazil with Flamengo. His wife, aka Ada's mother, is Catherine Harding, a British singer and model and content creator who goes by.
So not only did they do this massive blowout against civilians, but civilians that are connected and don't like when people do BS, and they're now going to put everything in your entire sanctity and entire familyhood on blast and say that you're disrespectful for the children? My God.
By Kat Cavelli online. And Ada is Catherine's daughter from a previous relationship, and that previous relationship would be actor Jude Law. So the 11-year-old sitting in tears at a hotel breakfast is Ada Law. And a few hours after breakfast, Giorgino published a long statement on Instagram in both Portuguese and English, where he walked through all of it. He tagged Chappell directly and ended the post in all caps, telling her that without her fans, she would be nothing, and telling those fans that she didn't deserve the affection. Now, to understand what happened next, you kind of need to understand something about Flamengo, the team Ada's stepfather currently plays for. Because after some research and while studying the topic, I think it's safe to say that these guys are not just a football club. Unlike American football clubs, the organized supporter groups at Brazilian football groups, they're very passionate people. And when one of their star players calls someone out, they're going to bat for them. So it somehow seems like all of Brazil came out against Chappell Roan for a moment on the internet. It's safe to say that Brazilian Twitter was fully locked in on being a hate mob for Chappell Roan. Even the official TV Globo returned to the tweet they made that morning and was like, yeah, oops, that aged well. But by the time Chappell was due on stage that evening, the story had already left Brazil. By the way, none of that was enough to change anything about the night's schedule. It was quite the opposite, actually, because despite all of the noise on social media, in real life, the crowd that showed up to enjoy the festival even started a Screw Flamingo chant. And at least there, in person, no one really stopped.
So regardless of the hate, she still had such an incredible fan base that they still came out to enjoy the music. You know what? Sometimes you just can't do no wrong, you know? Sometimes when it comes to it, you fail upwards. No matter what terrible situation hits you, you always land on your feet, huh? Chappell Roan, she's a cat.
Supporting the artist. I feel like that would actually be kind of funny here is if she didn't check Twitter or the internet that day because, you know, she was busy warming up for her show and getting ready for the final night of her tour. So she shows up on stage and the whole crowd's just chanting F at Flamengo. And she's just like, what's going on here? That would kind of be funny because it's definitely possible she had no idea this was going on until after her show. But regardless, Chappell Roan performed her headline set at Lola. She closed out her tour in front of a huge crowd at Interlagos. And by all accounts, the performance itself is exactly what it was supposed to be. But at one point, at the end of her set, she decided to thank her security team on stage. To be precise, actually, she gave a general warm send-off to everyone who had worked with her throughout the run. She told the crowd that she didn't know when she was going to be going on tour again, and that was her last show for now, and that she was grateful for everyone behind the scenes, her crew, her band, everyone who made it possible, including her security. But of course, the timing of her thanking her security team on that day, hours after all this broke, obviously triggered the internet. So that itself became a massive talking point as well. So people started asking, hey, was this intentional? Was this just tone deaf? Or was it just an unfortunate coincidence? I don't know. But what we do know is that the meme response to all this was genuinely kind of hilarious.
I think she probably doesn't know or probably doesn't care. She probably doesn't live on the internet like that where it's like this sort of stuff would matter to her. I think she's so full of herself that she probably doesn't even think that anything that she did was wrong. She probably doesn't know that the kid cried. Well, she probably sent the security over, but she probably doesn't know the kid cried. She probably doesn't know that there was all this hate on the internet. She probably just showed up from after eating breakfast and sleeping and hitting Kush all day, waking up and being like, yo, I gotta go do this concert. So I mean, hey, who knows? Chaperone, I don't know. Listen, I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't hate her. She's just a person to me. So shout out to Chaperone, baby girl. Shout out to the Ronzi. Come on, guys. How are you guys feeling so far? We rocking with the stream or what? Y'all rocking with the stream? All right, guys, let's get into this final video for today, gang. We got our final video for today. Let's get into our last video for today. We got none other than Tiger Woods.
The world can't quite seem to keep it together, as he's had yet another drink driving incident in which he crashed his car.
Now, a lot of people are going to say that the whole car crashing incident that's going on with Tiger Woods is because he's lashing out because he didn't have a childhood, because he was forced to play golf. Now, was he forced or was he just good at it? This is the real questions facing all of us. So the man's just lashing out now. He's doing childish things.
Before 2009, he was on top of the world with multiple wins under his belt, sponsorships, and a loving family. However, that all changed since he had over 120 affairs and crashed his car multiple times, so it seems like he gets this idea that he's unstoppable when he drinks. 2026 is no different, as he rolled his SUV near his home, and the resulting arrest has of course led to memes about the situation. In fact, it could be argued that Woods and his car crashes are a meme in themselves, given how often they happen and how often he is taken into police custody as a high-profile celebrity. This infamy as a meme is only furthered in incidents where
You know what's crazy about this? Is that the he was on top of the world, then he had the 120 affairs, which is a very precise number and very strange. All right. So, like, the 120 affairs, is it an affair to the affair to the affair? Like, how deep does this rabbit hole of adultery go? That's the real question. That's the real question. So he did that, was on top of the world, lost it all, came back, lost it all again, now with this DUI. And you know what's going to happen? After a year or two of good behavior and staying out of the press, the publicists are going to put his media kit together and he'll be right back on top. Ladies and gentlemen, the untouchable Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Woods is recorded via body cam or dash cam footage, and this footage is released to the public as we are seeing now. This time, he's seen absolutely crashing out after being arrested, as pictures of him screaming and holding a towel over his head are fast becoming memes. This, on top of the fact that he told police officers he was on the phone to President Trump, means the perfect firestorm of stunning moments for Tiger Woods to be thrust into the public eye.
Yeah, I was talking to the president. Yeah, I was talking to the president. Please save me. Please save me, Donald Trump.
One has to wonder, with the ridiculous amount of money the man has, couldn't he just hire a driver to get him around? Surely it'd be cheaper than the insurance premiums he'd be paying after multiple drink driving incidents. At any rate, this story seems to stick with audiences because it is a great tragedy of poetic proportions. The man flew so high and so close to the sun with his past, and for a while it did seem like he was back on track to becoming the GOAT of golf. Unfortunately, it seems like he keeps making the same mistakes, and time will tell if he is able to compete in the US Open.
When it comes to all these celebrities, bro, it looks as though the market is correcting itself. They no longer are untouchable pieces of gold as they used to believe they are. They are now more mere mortals.
Just signed up for. It would be amazing to see him absolutely crushing it in his sporting endeavors yet again, if only he decided to grab an Uber or something to get him home. In short, Tiger Woods' latest drink driving incident has led to memes yet again, as the man was captured via body cam footage calling Donald Trump and absolutely crashing out in the back of the police car. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in?
So I guess he's calling Trump to get him out of there. Another pardon? How many black people is Trump going to pardon? Let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. All right, well, I think that concludes it today, guys, for today's stream. I think that's it. What else? What else do you guys want? You want more from me? There's nothing more to give. There's nothing more to give, bro. Oh, actually, I might have a little thing to say. What's up, gang? We are back at it again. Listen, this whole idea of hustle culture, this whole idea of grinding at 3 a.m., waking up, doing this, doing that, it's all BS. Why do I say that? Because, answer me this. Are there not people that do nothing but smoke weed all day but are super successful and rich? Are there not people that pretty much wake up in the afternoon, people that wake up in the morning, are they not successful? Are there people that are not in shape and don't do cold plunges and are fat and they're successful? The answer to all these questions is yes. Who's this message from? Want popularity? Nigga, I don't do this to be popular. What kind of message is that? Nah, but this whole idea, because I think it gets in the way of what the true actual purpose is. And I think most people's purposes are different from one another. And someone's purpose might not need him to wake up at 5 a.m. They might not be built like that. They might not be a morning person. I can tell you right now, for me, I could become a morning person and wake up at 5, but eventually just through sheer time, I just revert back to this person that I was, of waking up at 12 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon and then working and doing stuff till 5 a.m. So my schedule is different. So for me to pretend to be a morning person just for the grind, I think is BS. I think you have to truly know who you are regardless of what the media or things are saying on the internet, because that's a slippery slope, bro. You saw the whole thing with Andrew Tate and where that ended up and where that took him. That didn't take him anywhere good, and that didn't take him anywhere that was supposed to be of benefit for himself. So stay true to yourself and avoid all this BS and this whole hustle culture and not enjoying yourself and not drinking tea and not drinking juice. And it sounds like a terrible, terrible life, to be honest. It sounds like you're drowning under this crazy amount of responsibility and you're not able to enjoy yourself at all. So remember to enjoy yourself in this crazy world, guys. And that ends today's stream. I will see you guys either maybe this weekend, depending on if I'm allowed to stream, or on Monday. I'll see you guys on Monday. All right, guys. Love you all. Peace and thank you and love. And thank you for all the fans. And thank you for Charlotte. Shout out Charlotte. What's going on? I'm good, baby girl. How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm just about to end the stream, baby girl. What do you want to say to me? What's up? What do you want to say to me, Charlotte? Say it. I'm going well. Yeah, I'm doing great too, baby. All right, you guys, I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me up. Thank you for propping me up. Thank you for all the all the money coming in from streaming. Thank you for it. It's changed my life. You guys have completely changed my life. You completely made me a better person financially, freedom. The financial freedom that I get from streaming now because of you guys is all because of you. Stay up in the community. If you have any videos you want me to react to, put it in the community tab on YouTube. And yeah, make sure you hit me up on Twitter. I'm on Kick. I'm on Twitch. We're on YouTube. I will catch you guys on Monday. I love you all. Bye.